Friends, let's join together in prayer. Be near us, O God, as we contemplate the words handed down to us throughout the generations. Help us to call to mind the way that all of creation is a prophetic voice calling to us, beckoning to us, commanding us to pay attention to the something bigger that you are doing in our midst. Bless, O God, the words of my mouth, the hearts, the minds, and the souls of those that hear them, and will help turn them into action. Amen. So, welcome to the first Sunday of Advent. Wasn't that just a really nice, gentle, warm, comforting reading for the first Sunday? I mean, it really fits with the music you're hearing in all of the shopping stores and the malls and the grocery stores and anywhere else you go. There will be signs in the heavens, and the seas will be stormy when these portents and signs come true. The Son of Man is at hand. The apocalypse is coming. The end of the world is near. By the way, don't forget to get all the trimmings you need for your Christmas dinner. And, there are some good deals coming on Cyber Monday. Do you see how that all lines up together? I don't. And maybe that's a good thing. Because the season of Advent is truly about something bigger. It's not about all of the little things that we need to get done between now and the 25th of December, or whenever it is you're celebrating Christmas, or whenever it is you're having a family gathering, if you can have one this year. It's not about this big notion that's expansive and cosmic. Even in Luke's version, it's so big that you can boil it down to what do you need to go buy. You can't boil that down to, and not only what do you need to go buy, what do you want to go buy, but please just go buy. Go buy more. It's the challenge of Advent. This season of preparing and waiting, of making room. Not just making room for more stuff. It's not the season of going through your closet and getting rid of what you no longer want so that you have room for the stuff you're going to get at Christmas to fit in the closet. That's not the kind of making room we're talking about. Rather, it's making room in here. What are the things that we need to let go of? What are the privileges that we have held on to so tightly and so deeply that they prevent us from truly being completely part of God's something bigger? How do we need to make space this Advent season? Not just for others, not just for family and friends, but for the Holy One. And where are those prophetic voices that we can listen to that will serve as signposts along the way, that will help us know that we're on this journey and we're moving somewhere? Well, for Luke, those signposts are all around us. For Luke, you don't have to look any further than the oceans that are rising and warming. You don't have to look any further than weather that needs new terminology because we've never experienced it before. You don't need to look any further than untold rainfalls and mudslides and rock slides and flooded towns and evacuation notices that are being given in this moment as we gather for worship. You don't need to look any further than armies massing on borders and countries warning other countries that if they keep this up, there will be consequences. Or travel bans being instituted once again because an Omicron variant is emerging. And we really don't know what that's going to mean for us. There are signs all around us that the way we've been doing things might not be the best way. And those prophetic voices can be found anywhere we dare to look and listen. It's one of the things that this quote kind of talks about. We may not live as the Lucan community on the margins of society in a world riddled with disease and drought and despair, or do we? Nevertheless, we too find hope in apocalyptic writing about a better world that can break forth at any time. Famine, drought, war, disease still plague our world. And closer to home, people struggle with greed, addiction, mental illness, and misplaced priorities. Christ's call to be alert and constantly praying for God's kingdom to break through into our world is as pertinent a call for us this Advent as it ever has been. Our broken and hurting selves and world need Christ to come. And we must take time this Advent to prepare to receive the human one. You see, that's the piece on this Sunday where we lit a candle for hope. At first, when you read that apocalyptic piece from Luke that Jesus offers to his community, and Luke offers to his, and we receive all the way down through history for ours, the temptation is to give up in despair, and yet at the very heart of apocalyptic literature is hope. Hope that something different is going to happen, something miraculous is going to emerge. Hope that this isn't the end of the story, it's just one chapter. Hope that God is still doing something in our midst, that something bigger is yet to be revealed for us. Hope that we can ground ourselves in holy mystery and in the teachings of the risen one and change the trajectory of our society and our culture and indeed the world. That's how our journey begins. Fred Craddock reminds us that the life of a disciple, the life of folks like you and me, the folks who try to follow in the footsteps of the way of the Christ, of the risen one, after all, is not one of speculation or of observation, but of behavior and relationships. I've often said that following Jesus is not a spectator sport. It's not like you can go home and turn on curling and watch it and jump up and down and complain about the angles and who did what, or the same thing for a hockey game or whatever sporting event you choose. It's not a spectator sport. Being a Christian, being a follower of Jesus, it's something that requires an action, a behavior, and a relationship. Even the scripture reading is look up and notice, then ponder the implications, and then act. It's a threefold process: look, contemplate, act, or observe, ponder, behave. See the relationship. See how interconnected we all are. See how it's really one life moment, one life event that separates someone here from someone there. The challenge between us really isn't that great or that significant when we understand how truly interconnected we really are. And once you've come to that realization, the call of the gospel, the hope that is in the gospel, is that you and I will change how we engage relationally with one another. And not just one another. It's not just that all of a sudden we'll start sharing our resources. It's not all of a sudden we'll understand that the relationship between people and land is a sacred thing. It's not that all of a sudden we'll ponder how it is we could make a guaranteed livable income a reality in Canada, let alone across the world. It's not like all of a sudden we'll realize that when parts of the world are 90% vaccinated and other parts of the world are 20 to 30% vaccinated, of course mutations in a virus will happen. Not only will we realize those kinds of relationships, but we'll recognize the importance of our relationship with all of creation. And we'll set aside the debate as to whether or not humans are changing our climate, and we'll accept that as reality. We'll accept that what we do and the decisions we make, the kinds of vehicles we buy, how much disposable clothing we purchase, it all has a relationship on that web of connections. And together we will choose, rather than base our relationships on the smallest realities, the ones that we experience day in and day out, we'll choose instead to base our relationships on the something bigger that God is doing in the world. And that we believe God invites us to be part of. That's the wonder of the hope in the first Sunday of Advent. It's not just that everything's going to be turned upside down and the world is going to radically change. It's rooted in a hope that the Holy One, that holy mystery, that our co-creative God is inviting you and me to be part of this something bigger. May we find some time this Advent to journey inward, to spend some time in contemplation and reflection, not so that we could stay there, but so that having paused and looked and seen, we can then act and join God in the something bigger that all of these prophetic voices are pointing towards. Amen.